The ultimate bargain. My $10 spaceship acquisition yielded unexpected returns leaving Earth had never been part of Malcolm Reed's plans, especially not accompanied by an extraterrestrial. As a hard-pressed pianist whose living space was covered with final notice warnings, adventure wasn't part of his schedule. However, on one pivotal Friday afternoon, Malcolm's existence took a dramatic turn following a mistaken detour en route to an unsuccessful audition. The scrapyard materialized unexpectedly past a corner he hadn't previously observed. An aged sign declaring "Stellar Oddities and Ends" swayed gently in the wind. Though not given to superstition, Malcolm felt an inexplicable draw towards the entryway, possibly the same intuitive sense that guided his musical compositions during moments of inspiration. "Just looking," he announced to the empty air, meandering between heaps of what seemed like typical terrestrial refuse interspersed with peculiar, shining items he failed to recognize. "Lookers seldom discover what they seek," a gravelly voice responded. Malcolm pivoted to face an elderly woman, her silver hair gathered atop her head, her skin bearing the texture of old parchment. Her eyes glinted with an unearthly violet light. "I'm not searching for anything specific," Malcolm answered. The woman, identified as Vivian by her name tag, offered a knowing smile. "That is precisely when the cosmos presents its finest offerings." She gestured for him to trail her further into the yard. Situated behind a veritable mountain of cast-off electronics was something that caused Malcolm to gasp. Concealed beneath a tarp rested what looked like a streamlined, teardrop-formed craft, roughly the dimensions of a compact bus. Its exterior shone with a pearlescent silver sheen, defying the yard's pervasive dust. "Is that a spacecraft?" Malcolm inquired, his voice scarcely more than a whisper. "Indeed," Vivian remarked nonchalantly, as though vending spaceships were as routine as dealing in pre-owned bicycles. "It belonged to a Voyager unable to bring it along." Malcolm surveyed the vessel, initial admiration yielding to doubt. "Right, and I presume it's actually capable of flight?" "It was for him," Vivian shrugged. "Could be for you as well." Malcolm chuckled. "I can hardly manage bus fare, never mind a spaceship." Vivian's eyes twinkled playfully. $10. "What?" $10 and it belongs to you. I require the area for incoming stock." Malcolm gazed at her, anticipating the punchline. When it didn't arrive, he delved into his pocket, retrieving his final creased $10 bill funds intended for his past-due electricity payment. "Deal," he stated, half anticipating her laughter and the joke's reveal. Instead, Vivian accepted the money, placed a small crystal key into his hand, and started to walk off. "Wait, how do what powers it? How is it flown?" Vivian looked back, a mysterious smile playing on her lips. "It understands the path. Just pay attention." Before Malcolm could inquire about the meaning of her enigmatic guidance, she vanished amidst the heaps of scrap. Malcolm remained alone next to his spontaneous acquisition, feeling rather silly. He inspected the crystal key, surprised as it grew warm in his grasp. Acting on impulse, he pressed it to what seemed like the ship's entry point. The surface undulated like liquid, and an opening materialized. Gentle blue radiance streamed out, lighting up Malcolm's astonished face. "This cannot be happening," he murmured, yet proceeded inside. The craft's interior contradicted the laws of physics, being significantly more spacious within than its external appearance suggested. Control interfaces displaying unfamiliar symbols adorned the walls. The atmosphere was fresh, carrying a subtle scent of something floral and unusual. Malcolm strolled through areas resembling living quarters, a compact food preparation area, and eventually into what could only be identified as the command center. Everything was spotless, appearing as though the ship was newly constructed, rather than having rested in a junkyard. "Hello?" Malcolm called out, feeling foolish addressing an empty vessel. To his amazement, the control panels lit up in reply. A soft hum vibrated through the deck. "Welcome, pilot," emanated a smooth, gender-ambiguous voice from all around and nowhere specifically. Malcolm jumped. Who was speaking? I am Nova, Neural Operating Vehicular Assistant. This craft is the Starseeker. How may I be of service? Malcolm settled into what looked like the pilot's seat, which molded perfectly to his shape. I recently acquired this ship for $10. A beat. Fascinating. My prior pilot appraised this vessel considerably higher. Yes, I would think so. Malcolm traced his fingers across the controls, which reacted with soft, melodic sounds. Can you instruct me on how to operate you? That falls within my operational parameters, Nova replied. Nevertheless, prior to initiating flight procedures, there is information you should possess. The floor beneath Malcolm started to reconfigure, and a portion of the wall retracted, unveiling a concealed compartment. Within, suspended inside a gently luminous cylinder, was the most exquisite woman Malcolm had ever laid eyes on. She seemed human initially, but her skin possessed a faint, iridescent sheen, and her hair, drifting in the chamber's substance, shifted between shades of deep blue and violet. Her eyes remained closed, her expression tranquil. Who is that? Malcolm whispered. This is Thea, Royal Astronavigator of the Celestial Academy. She initiated emergency stasis after the Starseeker incurred damage during an interstellar skirmish. Life support systems have preserved her state for roughly 3 Earth years. Malcolm approached the stasis unit warily. Is she living? Affirmative. Her vital metrics are steady but necessitate the correct reanimation procedure. Malcolm found himself unable to look away from her serene countenance. Can she be awakened? The awakening sequence requires validation from the vessel's designated pilot, Nova declared. As the current proprietor, you must approve this measure. Malcolm paused only momentarily. Proceed. Awaken her. The chamber's hum intensified, the fluid receding slowly. The woman's eyelids quivered, then parted, unveiling eyes the color of profound purple, like dusk skies scattered with stars. She inhaled sharply, disoriented, her sight eventually locking onto Malcolm. When she spoke, her voice was musical yet raspy from lack of use. Who are you? Where is Captain Orion? Malcolm swallowed nervously. I'm Malcolm Reed, and I recently purchased this vessel for $10. Thea's eyes widened incredulously, then tightened with suspicion. She attempted to step out but faltered, weakened by her prolonged stasis. Malcolm moved quickly to support her, feeling her unexpectedly warm form lean against him. Easy, he said softly. You've been unconscious for 3 years. Her eyes scanned his face. 3 years? That's not possible. The ship abruptly shuddered, lights flashing crimson. Alert, Nova announced. Proximity warning. Tracking vessel detected. Signature corresponds to Horizon Syndicate enforcement craft. Thea's complexion turned pale. They've located me. Who has located you? Malcolm demanded, panic surging within him. The individuals who desire my demise, she whispered. We must depart immediately. Malcolm glanced at the intricate controls, then back towards the mysterious woman he held. He had invested $10 in a spaceship and received substantially more than anticipated. Nova? He shouted, making a snap decision. Get us away from here. The ship reacted instantly, engines thundering to life as they ascended, leaving Earth and Malcolm's former existence far below. He understood his time performing piano in dimly lit clubs was finished. Whatever lay ahead among the constellations, it surely surpassed eviction warnings and barren refrigerators. And if assisting the enigmatic woman with universe-reflecting eyes was part of it, well, that represented a bargain regardless of the cost. The Starseeker rocketed through Earth's upper atmosphere like a silver projectile. Malcolm clung to the sides of his chair as Thea managed the navigation console with skilled facility, despite her weakened condition. Her fingers moved gracefully across the panels with elegant precision. Calculating jump coordinates, Nova declared as the vessel vibrated. Behind them, 3 dark, streamlined ships materialized on the main view screen, closing the distance quickly. They are acquiring weapon locks, Thea warned, her voice composed despite the imminent threat. She turned towards Malcolm, who was staring wide-eyed at the approaching pursuers. I must know. Can you be trusted? Malcolm met her intense gaze. I'm a pianist who just used his final $10 to buy a spaceship. I'm as bewildered by this situation as you are. A slight smile graced Thea's lips. Understandable. She touched a sequence of symbols on the console. Nova, execute Stardon's protocol. The ship banked sharply, executing a fluid spiral maneuver that dodged the initial volley of energy fire from their pursuers. Malcolm's stomach churned, yet he couldn't help but appreciate how the vessel obeyed Thea's commands, like an extension of her own being. Jump drive fully charged, Nova reported, awaiting destination input. Thea paused. The Syndicate maintains surveillance everywhere. We require an unpredictable location. She looked at Malcolm. You are the new pilot. Any suggestions? Malcolm blinked, taken aback at being asked for input. Me? I don't know any locations in space. Think of somewhere, she pressed as another impact shook the ship. The Starseeker interfaces with your thoughts. Envision a location, anywhere safe. Malcolm shut his eyes, beginning to panic. He conjured the image of his grandmother's mountain cabin, the sole place he had ever experienced genuine tranquility. He visualized the misty woodlands, the serene lake, the seclusion. Coordinates registered, Nova announced, surprising Malcolm. Initiating jump. The stars outside elongated into bright lines, and Malcolm felt his body forced back into the seat as the ship accelerated beyond anything he had ever imagined. His sight blurred, his ears popped, and then calm returned. Upon opening his eyes, they were suspended above an unknown planet, featuring 2 moons and swirling turquoise atmospheric patterns. Where have we arrived? He asked, lacking breath. Thea examined the sensor readings. Terraform planet within the Lyra constellation. Atmosphere suitable for both our species' physiologies. She seemed impressed. Your mind converted your concept of a safe haven into viable coordinates. Extraordinary. Malcolm gazed at the stunning world beneath. I was picturing my grandmother's cabin. And the ship located its spatial equivalent. Thea's features gentled. Your mind possesses inherent navigational talent, uncommon even within my own race. As they orbited the serene planet, Thea shared her backstory. She was a royal astronavigator, skilled in charting unstable space sectors using her enhanced senses. The Horizon Syndicate, interstellar criminals profiting from instability, had attempted to abduct her to leverage her abilities. Captain Orion, her guide, had aided her escape but remained behind to divert their hunters. My last memory is of the ship sustaining damage, she recounted quietly. Orion must have instructed Nova to conceal us on Earth until conditions were secure. And then he sold it to a junk dealer for $10? Malcolm inquired doubtfully. Thea shook her head. Orion would never have parted with the Starseeker. Something must have occurred involving him. They landed beside a crystal-clear lake encircled by trees bearing silver-blue foliage. The cabin Nova materialized using the ship's transformation modules bore a striking resemblance to Malcolm's memory, a timber frame structure with a broad porch facing the water. As days turned into weeks, they settled into a rhythm. Mornings involved strengthening the ship's cloaking systems. Afternoons were set aside for instructing Malcolm in fundamental flight operations. Evenings became Malcolm's preferred time, sitting on the porch observing the twin moons ascend. Play for me once more, Thea asked one evening, about a month after their arrival. Malcolm had found that the ship could reshape a part of itself into any instrument he imagined. He had fashioned a piano that yielded sounds more exquisite than any terrestrial instrument. Malcolm's fingers glided over the keys, crafting a melody that encapsulated their voyage, initially hesitant, then ascending with potential. He glanced at Thea while playing, captivated by the moonlight enhancing her features. Music of this nature doesn't exist among my people, she remarked after he concluded. We communicate via mathematical constructs, but this? She rested her hand over her heart. This resonates more profoundly. Music has consistently been my mode of expression, Malcolm confessed, especially when verbal communication failed me. Their eyes locked, and Malcolm experienced a pull more powerful than gravitational force. Before he could react, the proximity warning sounded loudly. "Syndicate vessels detected entering the system," Nova announced. They hurried back to the ship, reverting it from its cabin form. As they readied for an urgent takeoff, Thea faced Malcolm. "I have placed you in peril. I apologize." Malcolm shook his head. "Do not apologize. These past weeks hold more significance than my entire existence on Earth." As they ascended, a Syndicate blockade materialized on their sensors, blocking all escape avenues. "We are cornered," Thea whispered. Malcolm examined the navigation display, a peculiar serenity enveloping him. "Not quite. Nova, can you perform a blind jump through that nebula?" "Negative. Navigational risks are excessively high." "You could manage it," Malcolm stated to Thea, "with your expertise." She hesitated. "It demands perfect coordination with the vessel. I would require a point of focus, something to anchor my awareness." "Like music?" Malcolm proposed. Comprehension lit her eyes. "Yes, precisely like music." As Syndicate ships drew nearer, Malcolm returned to his piano. Thea positioned her hands on the navigation sphere, closing her eyes. With every chord Malcolm struck, the ship reacted, navigating the nebula's perilous currents like a dancer translating music. Energy discharges narrowly missed them. As Malcolm's composition intensified, Thea's form glowed with the same iridescence as the nebula, her consciousness merging with the Starseeker. When they came out safely on the opposite side, Thea fell into Malcolm's embrace. He held her firmly, their heartbeats synchronizing. "We succeeded," she whispered. "We did," he confirmed. "Where do we proceed now?" Thea gazed up at him, her eyes mirroring starlight. "I must discover what befell Orion. The Syndicate needs to be halted." Malcolm nodded, grasping her sense of obligation. "Then that is our destination. You would accompany me. It promises danger." He gently tucked a strand of her luminous hair behind her ear. $10 for a spaceship and a life among the stars alongside you? Still the ultimate bargain I ever struck. Their lips met, a kiss that seemed to set alight the space surrounding them, their distinct worlds crashing like uniting galaxies. Whatever obstacles awaited, they would confront them united. The musician from Earth and the navigator of stars, composing their shared melody across the expanse of the cosmos. As the Starseeker charted a path toward fresh escapades, Malcolm understood that certain deals, however unintentional, were predestined. And within the immense void of space, discovering a companion to share it with constituted the greatest treasure imaginable.